First of all, a big thank you to Amadeus for inviting me on the stage today. I am not an airline executive. In fact, I'm from a very closely related industry, the luxury travel industry. And last night, over drinks, while having small talk and a little bit of big talk, I had sort of an epiphany. Or I should say, that's maybe too positive a word. It was more of a shock realization. And that realization is that actually, while we serve the same clients as you do, and we're talking at the premium level now, business first class travelers, we serve the same clients. Without you, our clients don't arrive, and we don't have any business. Without us, in many cases for leisure travelers, your clients don't have a reason to get on the flight in the first place. And yet, what I realized, the shock realization was that you, in most cases, know very little or next to nothing about our business. And, unfortunately reciprocal, we know virtually nothing about your business. We don't know what ails the airlines, we don't know the trials and tribulations of running an airline, and yet we serve the same client. So, for me, this platform is an opportunity to extend an olive branch, extend a hand, and continue the dialogue after this short presentation, and talk about how we can fix that, because we serve the same clients. We should be working together. We should be communicating. We should be exchanging information and statistics and insights that can help grow our bottom line for both industries. So that is a side note. Now, I don't have any pie charts for you. I don't have any stats. I don't have any spreadsheets. Sorry, empty-handed. You've seen enough of those, and you will see more of those. I have only a few slides, and most of what I'll be saying is I'm ad-libbing anyway, because I prefer to talk to you, not at you, in this case. And I was not going to talk about numbers, but let me throw out one number to start this off. $21 billion. That's a big number for anyone. $21 billion. What is $21 billion? It's the market cap of Airbnb at this very moment. Everyone knows Airbnb. You go to a destination, you stay in a local's home, and that is now part of your experience. $21 billion in market cap in just a few years' time. Now, the $21 billion in market cap is about 3.5 times more than an airline like Lufthansa. And this is a company that has no inventory. They don't have any planes to maintain, they don't have any maintenance, they don't have any airports to pay into and work with. They have no inventory, they have no real estate, they carry no inventory, and yet they're valued at $21 billion. Why is this? It goes to the heart of what I want to talk to you about. Let me move to the next one. I wrote a piece on LinkedIn about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, and I provocatively titled it, Why Luxury is Dead. Right, it's a provocative statement, luxury is dead. A lot of people don't agree with that, but let me explain what I meant by that. The ground under our feet, in my industry, and your feet is shifting, shaking, all the time. We live in an age of complete disruption. There are new startups coming along that will happily take your revenue in any way they can. They can scale quickly, like we saw, they don't have inventory in many cases. Airbnb, Uber, you name it, they're all coming up. So what's happening in the industry? What's happening very quickly is that the traditional notions of luxury are gone. They're dead. People are now traveling for different reasons, right? Even the business traveler is now combining business time with leisure when they travel. The leisure traveler is completely profoundly shifting what they consider luxury to be. So at the end of this, I'm going to all have a call to action and ask you all to email me with your definition of what luxury is, and give me an example of what you as people, not as members of the corporate world and high-flying CTOs, CIOs, revenue managers, but as people, what you think luxury really is. Now, luxury is dead. What does it mean? It means that the hotel industry, equally as the airline industry, is struggling at the moment to give people exactly what they want. What people travel now for more than ever are experiences, right? The problem with that for airlines and hotels alike is that people are no longer impressed with your fancy in-flight meals, your beautiful cabin, your leg space, your in-flight entertainment system. All these things are good and well, but they're assumed now. This is an assumption that you can deliver this. This is the baseline, right? And all the silverware in the world can't solve a fundamental problem in the industry, is that people don't care anymore about these things. People, even at the highest segment of leisure travelers, people want to be immersed in local cultures. This is why more and more they travel. This is why the market cap of Airbnb is $21 billion, because it's not backpackers staying in $30 local homes. It's wealthy families from all over the world, including the Middle East, going to cities and staying in a €1,000 a night private house. So this is nibbling seriously at the bottom line of the hotels. So if they don't care about these things anymore, then how do you serve them as an airline as well? If the lounge is assumed, you have the best airlines in the world here, Qatar, Etihad, Emirates, all the other ones as well coming up. You invest in beautiful lounges, you have the best airplanes, everything, and yet the client isn't satisfied with that, because that's not the reason they travel. The reason they travel is to have local experiences. So the message I'm bringing is that we need to discuss with your industry, between our industries, the rise of mindful luxury and how we can tap into that. Because with the problem, there is also a major opportunity. More and more people are coming online. India is booming, China is booming, everyone wants a piece of that pie. But how do we entice these people to spend big on premium cabins, on first-class flight and all these things? Well, we have to work together with you to devise new products. The previous speaker spoke about brands, and I think that's very true. I think we need to realize once more, as it was in the heyday of flying, when flying was glamorous, that you're not an airline. You are a brand, you're a service company, right? People want a sense of nostalgia attached to flying, once again. That's what people are looking for. So this is very important to give to them. So as it says there, the consumer is now empowered and demands a different approach to luxury, and in many ways, something simpler and more profound. I'll give you an anecdote of what that means in current terms, of how people are shifting their travel habits. We had a client flying into China. He flew in on a private jet. He's a billionaire from Florida. This is 5-6 years back. He flew into China on a private jet. He didn't stay in any of the five-star hotels. He didn't participate in any of the opulent type experiences. Instead, he flew in on a private jet, very expensive, from Florida, and he spent 6 nights sleeping on a thin mattress on top of the Great Wall of China. Right? Freezing cold, nothing to do except stare out over the wall. And the only thing he did was practice Tai Chi in the morning with a Tai Chi master that we brought in, and sit on the wall and sort of reflect on his life. Now, sitting on bare rock for 6 nights is not traditional luxury. This is something else altogether. And yet, this level of experience, this type of experience, is now permeating throughout our industry, right? Why does a billionaire go sit on the Great Wall of China on bare rock for 6 nights? Because, and this is the kicker, to him, this was luxury, right? So we need to really think about what we mean when we say luxury. And the airlines as well, because again, we are going to lose revenue to other services, to other industries, to other ways of travel, if we don't address this profound need for experiential travel. And this starts with the airlines, because again, without you, there is no us. They have to go through the airport, they have to fly. So, you know, I'm on a quest to dialogue with the airlines and see how we can implement experiential products and ideas into what you do. thereby enticing people to spend more on first-class travel, on premium travel, and basically drive the bottom line of both industries. It's very important. Now, I spent 13 years in China, living in various cities, and the longest time was in Shanghai. And so I have a travel company there as well. We send Chinese people overseas. And one thing became clear in the last 2 to 3 years is that, first of all, everyone wants a slice of that pie. And everyone seems to think that the Chinese are going to go through the same curve as did, for example, the West, Europe, the United States. And it took those two blocks a long time to graduate from standard opulent travel into experiential luxury. The Chinese are catching on very fast. They're doing this at an accelerated pace, and they're not going to go through the standard curve of spending 20 years of conspicuous spending on frivolous luxury. They're graduating into what I've been talking about in 2 to 3 years. And we're talking millions of people dissatisfied with the state of travel, with having to go to places where it's overflowing with tourists, disenchanted with the experience of having to go through an airport, going through security, and doing all the things that nobody associates with glamour. So they're graduating very quickly. So we can't count on them to drive the next wave of business by doing business as usual. We need to do something different. We need to talk to them in a different way. So again, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish in speaking here is to talk to you and not at you, and start a dialogue about how my side of the industry can reinforce yours. What can we offer you as an industry to drive your bottom line? And I think we can, but it's a start of a dialogue. So what do we do exactly, in case that wasn't clear? So we're a travel company, and rather than try and sell people individual trips, we sell experiences. We sell dreams. Because this, in the end, is really what people are aspiring to. When the suits come off, when people spend time with their families, what they really want to do is have profound experiences. So we've built a company where we focus on Europe. Ode to Joy is basically related to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is also the anthem of Europe, which is why we called it that. And we create memorable, lifelong memorable experiences around Europe. And so, but again, the people who use these experiences have to get to us first. So the question is, and this is not just with our company, is how can you talk to companies like us and implement these propositions into your brand, right? Because it's no longer about being an airline. You're more than that. You're a service company, you're a brand, and people should be enticed to use you. It should not be assumed. So I'll give you a few examples of what that means to be an experiential travel company. This is in Iceland. This is a cave in Iceland. You can only reach from Reykjavik by speedboat. And what people do in there is you set up a beautiful picnic table, you bring in a top chef, and you set up a private dining environment in a water cave off the coast of Iceland. Not traditional luxury. This has nothing to do with marble bathrooms, with fancy first-class amenities. This is fairly bare bones. But this is why people travel now. This is why they will buy your first-class ticket, is to come and do these things. Right? So why can't they find inspiration like this in your offers? Why are you only about selling tickets? Right? Why is this not connected in some way? This is a Downton Abbey experience in the UK, where people, very wealthy people, get to simulate the environment of Downton Abbey, this famous TV series, and become part of it, with a full cast of actors, with all the amenities you can think. Very, very expensive experience. People who do this, they fly your airlines, and they will spend a fortune on it. Joining a submarine expedition off the coast of Sicily, going diving for Roman shipwrecks. Not traditional luxury. It's very cramped in one of those. It doesn't smell too good with 5 people in there. But it's luxury, it's new luxury, and this is what people really strive for. This is in Barcelona, a private dinner on top of the Gaudi house. Again, nothing fancy in and of itself, except for the fact that you're part of a historical monument, a historical environment. And so, again, going back to what I was saying, we need to look at companies like Airbnb and Uber and really try and understand what the fundamental message is that their market valuations send us. A company without no inventory is valued at $21 billion. That's about double the estimated market cap of Emirates Airlines. No planes, no hotels, no inventory, just a platform. And what is it based on? Why do they have this market cap? Simply because consumers are wanting to stay in a local environment. They can afford the hotel, they can stay in the Palace Hotel, they can stay in the €1,000 a night suite, and they stay with local people. Why? Because it's driven by a deep desire to reconnect with what travel used to be about. Nostalgia, glamour, and personal satisfaction. So, before I finish, what I would like to do is continue the dialogue, and I have a little call to action for all of you. I'd love to meet you all, get your business cards, and get your email addresses, because what I would like to do is ask you to send me an email, and in a few lines, give me an anecdote or a definition of what luxury means to you. Not you, the executive, you, the person, right? What does it mean when you go back to your families, or you travel with your partner, whoever it is? What does that mean to you? I suspect very few will list the leather in the first-class cabin. We'll see, right? It's probably something different, and I'd love for you to send me that, and I'll aggregate all that information, and I'll send an email back giving you some anonymous findings about what everyone has said. And then you'll realize that chasing opulence for the sake of it is the wrong approach in this post-luxury economy, right? That's the wrong approach. Upgrading your cabin is not going to entice these people anymore. It's the services around what we do. And we, as a hospitality and tourism industry, need to engage more with the airlines. We need to understand your problems, and we need to offer you solutions that help you drive more passengers towards these types of experiences and enhance our bottom line and yours as well. So my email is there, but I'd love to meet you all, get your cards. And so please do send me an email with whatever you think is luxury, an anecdote or your definition. I would love to know. Unless there are any questions, that's all from me.